I haven't raised my prices in 15 years. That's your fucking fault.
Yeah, that's bad. You should not be waiting that long.
Why would you do that? What are you doing?
You're not running a business well.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to our show. My name is Todd. They probably already know that, but I'll tell them every week anyways. I'm here with my wife and business partner, Jennifer.
Hello.
What's up? You're listening to the Hello Hair Pro podcast. So today we're talking about bigger, not always being better when it comes to a salon business. And we're talking about customer service. So like a two-part little podcast here.
Love it.
Should be fun. And we talk about customer service all the time. I don't know how much we've talked about it on the show because I don't remember off the top of my head. But we talk about it. It's super important. And I think the industry gets pulled in different ways because people try to just create these like redefined words and all this stuff. And the bigger not always better, or bigger not always being better, is also something that I notice that, mistakes that people make. And we've worked with some people that are opening spaces and whatever. And most times you're going to have the highest, like we just said this before recording, but the majority of your time, you're going to have a better chance of being successful the smaller you are, not the larger.
Absolutely.
So in order to even consider scaling or increasing what you already have, you really have to have a solid, proven business.
Correct.
And a model and systems. And so we'll jump into some of this stuff.
Profitability.
Yeah, business. Yeah. If you don't have profitability, you don't have a business. I mean, you have a business, you sell goods and some, money is exchanged. I get it. You have an LLC with the state. Congratulations. But what I'm talking about is successful.
Yes.
So, because I could just go, like I have opened LLCs before that I never ended up doing anything with. Like we were in the planning stages of a business, and then for one reason or another, that business just never was born.
Correct.
But I could technically say I owned it because I have this, paper from the state. It doesn't make me a business owner though. Kind of funny, but anyways, so there are a few ways to scale your business. So it's in my notes, franchising. I don't know much about franchising. I think it's cool. I think if it's for the right person. And franchising is I know it's more complicated than this, but if you're not 100% sure, it would be like when you license the name of a business. So when you want to open a McDonald's, I believe McDonald's are franchises, yeah?
I'm pretty sure.
So yeah, a business or usually a business group will purchase the rights to open a McDonald's, but they also get all the manuals, all the playbooks, all the recipes, everything is all standardized.
More of a plug and play.
Yes. So I don't know what that process looks like. I know people that have, I think, gone through franchising processes. I know I've seen a couple of people that post some things like they're going to be franchising, but I don't
see much on franchising, but
I've seen a couple.
Hey, if that's your goal, then make sure you're starting out the right way so you can actually do it.
Yeah, if you're going to do that, I would say that you need a really, really solid business plan, because if somebody's coming to invest in your company, as far as like to pay you year after year just to use your name,
you need to have systems in place,
yeah, you need all that.
Systems, successful.
Yeah, you need that stuff.
If that's your long-term plan.
So the next one would be to expand to multiple locations. All right. We've been approached a couple times, I think, for this one. One time I looked into it, and every other time we said no.
Yeah.
Now, it might be right for you. Who knows? I don't know what your situation is. So to expand to multiple locations is exactly what it sounds like. You have one successful salon in town X, and town Y that's 20 minutes away. Maybe you open another one.
Correct. Again, you better have good systems in place.
I think so. The reason we wanted to talk about this is because excuse me, is because it all comes back to the same thing. If you don't have these systems in place, if you don't have a solid foundation, which we refer to foundation as your mission, your vision, your core principles, those sort of guiding aspects of your business, you're going to fall flat on any of these.
Yes, because if you're going to open multiple locations, you're going to get the expectation now that, oh, I went to place A and today I'm in the other town and I'm going to get the same type of service or the same experience that I get in the other location. So if you don't have that down pat, it's going to fall flat real fast.
Correct.
And I would say if your first business that you open, especially if you're just taking that name and you're putting it in another location, you got to have a pretty strong reputation. You're flowing in the right direction. Probably you're strong in your community, because that's going to carry you into your next one too. So I do feel you need to have some momentum in that business that's out there. People know you exist. They know what you do. Your name, your brand is recognizable so that it can hold up in another location.
Yes. You know what I just thought of? I've been asked probably, I don't know, a dozen times since we've been open if we're a franchise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have actually. That's funny.
Yeah, I talked to a few people about it. I don't know what that means. Like, I don't know. Is that good? Is that bad?
I don't know.
Thanks for talking there while I
I was letting you cough. I feel
catching
like
my
everyone's
breath.
coughing right now
Yeah,
because
it's
of the
that
weather and
time of year. It's
dry
about
air.
to snow again and
Yeah.
whatever. All right. And so the final thing before we jump into some things you want to think about, but the final way, I think, I'm sure there are infinite ways to do this, but would be to expand your current location. So maybe the unit next to you opens up. You did that at your
I
last
did.
salon. At our current space, I believe before that space was from when we stripped it down to like concrete, it looked like probably 3 spaces to me.
That makes sense because of the way it's laid out.
The way it's laid out and the way that I could see the walls used to be, the interior walls. And because there are 2 exterior doors and then an interior door, so maybe it was 2. But that would be another option. Again, you've got to weigh this stuff out, and we can talk about why. Let's just jump in. What about square footage? So our space, I'll admit, it's too big.
Agreed.
It's huge. And we're working through ways to maximize our return on every square fucking foot. Because if you have space, it needs to make you money. Every square foot should generate or be able to generate income. Like you should know I need X amount of square feet per station, and that station should generate me X amount of dollars per year. Times however many you have.
Right.
If you're somebody that plays in retail, you should know I need this X amount of square footage for retail products, and I need to turn that over X amount of times per year, per month, per
To
week.
make that all profitable.
To make that profitable.
Yeah. Agreed.
Otherwise, you're one of those salons that opens up, has a massive retail front, and we've all seen these, right? And then you've got like $20,000 or more of inventory sitting on your shelves.
That will expire and will rebrand.
Unless you're focused on...
Unless your main thing is retail. I mean, there are...
And it's totally fine if you're retail. We're not retail focused. We keep certain things on hand that we like to...
And a bit of convenience too, I think.
Yeah, for convenience. Yeah. And we know our clients. We stay connected with our clients. So like, for example, we have the products and items that... Can you tell that I don't do extensions? Because that's what I was going to use. So I don't even know what you need because that's your department.
Yes.
But I know there are some brushes and some care, aftercare.
It's very important.
Things that are very important that you like people to leave with. And that sets them up to have success.
Yeah. And then I think now we kind of keep on, or I've been a few things seasonal. So right now dry scalps are big. So I keep 1 or 2 things for people that come in. And if I don't have it, I send them the link so they can buy it through our site anyway, which takes all the stress off as being an owner and being out of stock of things. I'm not out of stock. I just don't carry that, but I can tell you where to get it.
Yeah. We're big on, we're still connecting people with the products. We're just not stocking it.
Yeah.
And
I
dealing
think
with it.
if you're in the position where you're like, I need to grow my business in the sense of I need more space, I really would question why you need the space, because most often I'm going to tell you, you probably don't. Because if you expand that space, now you need to fill that with things that are going to make you money. And at the end of the day, or at the
Stylists.
end of the year, you could be making the exact same amount of profit coming back, depending on all the space you just took on. And you're not actually making any more money. You just have more headaches.
Correct. So that's why. So expanding your current location. Let's take out the multiple locations in the franchising. Let's just talk about just expanding. I do think that a lot of people believe if you just make it bigger, then it'll succeed or it'll have a higher chance.
Right.
And when we opened the podcast, I said generally smaller is better.
Yes.
I would say, especially in this industry, the overhead costs are
Astronomical.
I was going to use that exact word, and then I was going to say can be if you don't know what you're doing.
Yes.
So if you go in and you buy $20,000 worth of retail, that's money, that's working capital that you don't have access to
Correct.
now. So you've got to think about everything when you're laying this stuff out. And I think you kind of just alluded to it. When if you can't manage 2 stations, expanding to 48 stations
Clearly not a good
is
idea.
not going to change anything. And if you aren't profitable on 4 stations, why would you be adding
Yeah.
to,
Just because you add
4
more,
more?
it doesn't mean you're going to be more profitable.
No. If you can't create profit from 1 station on its own, you have no
Yeah, keep it
business.
Keep it
even
there and
trying
work on
to.
that.
Right.
Work on what you have. Then I just need more and I'll be better off. No, that is not how it works in real life. I also think, and I've had a lot of people recently have conversations with me about the feeling of success or the feeling of what they thought success should be. So this might be a different topic, but real quick, if you think because you have a bigger salon or a bigger business or it looks bigger from the front, that somehow people are going to think you're more successful, you're going to feel more successful. Those things will not all come together at the same time. If you don't feel successful in your 4-station salon, just because you make a bigger one doesn't mean you're going to feel any different. You're actually going to feel probably way more overwhelmed. It's going to be a lot harder.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. Is that some psychological stuff?
Yeah, it's a lot what's been coming my way from a lot of people reaching out to me recently, just the whole feel thing. So I think a lot of stylists, barbers probably too, we work off of emotion. So it might be easy to be like, oh, this isn't working. So I feel like if I go bigger, it's going to just work out. And that's where you have to step back, work the math, and really understand your numbers, like you were saying, per chair, per square footage, what you're doing, and if it actually makes sense in a math equation. If it doesn't, don't do it.
Yeah, that's
don't do it now.
So here's the deal. You need both sides of your brain. So you need the emotional intelligence side, the gut instinct, the creative, all that fun stuff, but you also need the reality, fact, logistical side, statistics. Those are the things that you have to have both of those. And I see a lot of people just having the creative, fun, la-di-da stuff without the logic.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you run into these issues where people, like, for example, I'll give a tour of our salon to somebody that's, stopping in that owns a salon or works at a school or whatever. And they're always like, I love how big it is. It's so huge. And I'm like, that's the worst thing about this place for me.
Stand, yes.
So,
Yeah.
and the reason we chose it is because it was the least of 2 evils, because the other space that we looked at as a possibility, because spaces were extremely limited, now they're putting multiple locations in plazas because their landlords are just changing the rules, which is fine. It's there. I wish they changed it when we were there, because I don't care if there's another salon in the same plaza.
Correct.
I'll operate right around you. I'm not here to try to steal your people.
No, there's enough hairs to go around.
Yeah, I don't care. I'll work
I agree
around
with
you.
that wholeheartedly.
But the other building that we had looked at, you were looking at $400,000 to $500,000, so like $500,000 just to get it in like where you could have people
Working
in it.
order.
No, not even. I mean, this
It was bad.
yeah. The building needed to be leveled. I mean, we had an
crazy.
engineer come in and go downstairs, and they were like, "This needs to be like jacked up on this side, and we need to level." And I was like, "No." All right, so say you've got your heart set on expanding either way because you don't have a logical side. I mean, because you've already done the stuff, you've already done the homework, right? What are some things you should think of? Well, we've already touched on the systems. Your systems have to be in place. If they're not, expanding is going to be hell. You're going to be walking through hell every day. You're just going to be micromanaging, and you're just going to
Spinning
be
your wheels.
putting out fires, putting out fires, putting out fires
Which is
all day long. And you might think, well, when I expand, I'll have money magically. Somehow you'll magically have money, and I'll just hire a manager. Well, you have to train that person as well.
Correct.
So hiring and training staff, that's something to consider. You have
I think one of the hardest things of running a business for me personally is managing people. So, I mean, if you don't enjoy doing that, then
I don't know if that's the hardest for me.
For me, it is.
No, I know. I'm just trying to be honest here.
Yeah.
It's up there because people have different needs, different emotions, different struggles, different lives outside of the salon. So, yeah, there's a lot to it because we're all so different.
Right.
So yeah, I get that.
When you expand and you have to bring on more people, that's more personalities and more probably systems you'll need to put in place to deal with all of the different dynamics that come into your culture if you want it to be a good running salon with a good feel to it, which it should be very important because there's not a lot of those out there.
Right. Yeah, hiring and training staff is, you're going to have to do that so if you go multi-location, now you've got to train staff in 2 separate locations. What does that look like? Right. You're going to have to figure that out. That's on you, just so you know. If you're I don't even know if with a management team you could do it. Like, you're going to have to train your management team. You're going to have a clone of you. And how long does that take to get someone to think like you?
Yeah, that's where, if that's what you want to do, you should start small and get that going and get those layers in place. So then maybe almost your team can go and do that for you. Yeah.
Or there are a couple ways that just click in my head. So maybe one, that's where you do explore franchising, because if you don't want to do all the training of the people, you write the manuals.
Yep.
Or 2, maybe you bring on a business partner from within. So maybe you have an aspiring business owner that works for you currently.
Right.
And you partner with them and they go open your second location. So you're both operating under the name. They've been with you for a while. They've bought in, and then you can mentor them. So maybe you're going in for, 30% or 25. Maybe it's not a 50-50 split, or maybe it is. And you take them under their wing, and maybe they do that with the next person, and maybe that's how you set things up. I don't know. Just clicked in my head. All right. So increasing revenue was one of the things I wanted to talk about, because if you expand, you owe more money now. Mm-hmm. And I know it's popular to write on Instagram, you get to keep all the money, but guess what?
You don't.
You do not, because those square feet, your landlord wants dollars for.
Yes.
So if you lease another space, you're probably needing to double what the revenue that you're responsible for bringing in.
The electricity, the utilities, all of that stuff, the reno to even get it all set up.
Oh yeah, build out is a whole other.
Yeah.
We could do a show on build out sometime.
Oh, sure. I think the biggest thing here is that, sort of what we said in the beginning, bigger is not always better. And there might be some really cool shit you can do in your space to make it feel new, or maybe it needs a facelift of some sort. Or you could maybe even look around and there's probably some empty space within your space that could generate you some more income that you should utilize first before just making a step to bigger is better.
Yeah, for sure. I like that idea.
Double shift your chairs even. Like, if you have some staff and they're not working all the time, you can utilize those chairs for other people, depending on what your your terms are with either your staff or your renters or whatever. But I would imagine there is more that you can do in the space you have than needing just more space.
Yeah, there is probably infinite ways to expand without expanding your overhead or increasing your debt.
Right.
So, yeah, double shifting the chairs, I don't think is anything new. It still surprises people when I explain it to people, like, you do what? And I'm like, well, we have X amount of stations, but we shift them. Well, how does that work? Well, because so they think, well, I want to set up my station. That's my station. First of all, it's not your station. It's my station. Not to be a jerk, but like, we need to be clear about that.
Yeah.
And second of all, you're not going to work 7 days a week.
Right.
Why would I want that chair sitting there earning $0 for
Correct.
me? That's irresponsible business
And
if you allow that.
I agree.
Sorry.
I
but
agree.
it is.
And I think shifting the chairs does two things. And I can tell you as an owner for
My
a long
favorite
time,
one is
what?
probably what you'll say
It keeps
second.
it clean.
Yeah, you said it
Because
first.
the minute you take your stuff out,
You have to clean
you
it.
have to clean it, and your stuff has to be. You can see even the stuff that you missed. So that is huge. But I also think from a stylist perspective and the client perspective, they get to see different parts of your business that they don't see when they're always sitting in the same chair. Like,
You mean a
I didn't
physical
notice. Yeah, I didn't notice that
view.
door. Oh, where did
Yeah.
you put those plants? Oh, like it just changes it up, and it helps keep you fresh. So even if you have let's say a 6-station salon, you don't want to shift it, move people around often. It's healthy to do. It's good for them. It's good for the station, and it's good for the clients.
But it's much easier to just remain complacent and just go through the motions.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. All right. So marketing and advertising. You are now responsible for so say you have 2 separate locations. I don't know how it works with franchising. I'm imagining the franchise covers the marketing. Like for McDonald's, those McDonald's commercials that you see.
Right.
I don't think that's the individual operators.
Yeah, for sure.
So that might be different. But when you open a second location, your marketing needs to change. You've got to be really clear, first of all, on where people are going. We have we have one standalone business. We still have people go to the wrong locations. It's not even the same name.
Yep. It just happens.
So imagine having 2 with the same name.
Right. To make sure they're going
Or
to
3
the
or
right
4 or
location.
5 or 30, right?
Yep.
So it's just different things to think about. And then the last thing, and I want to move on to customer service here, but the last thing I want to mention is your financial management. So, and just something to think about when the first business isn't quite on its feet yet, what are you going to do?
Right.
Are you going to take from the first business to support the second business? Is that your plan?
Got to think about that. And that's where I think if you use every inch of the space you currently have first and get it as profitable as possible, more than it even is now, if you're thinking of expanding or having that second location, because that should give you some overflow for the second one, depending on how you set that up. But that would be your accountant. You probably need an attorney. Get that shit together.
For sure. Yeah. So anything else on that? We just wanted to talk about, because I think people do believe that bigger will solve their problems. I know that actually for a fact because I've talked to people, past business partners,
Yes.
people like that just think like, I'll be rich if I do this. And it's like, no, you won't. 1, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
And 2, you're just adding problems. You're not,
Right. I think
it's not
also
fixing anything.
if truly your goal is to expand, to have another location, to franchise, if you're not doing stuff now to get ready for that, you're already behind. So just to say,
Yeah.
someday I'm going to have another location. No. This location needs to start being set up with the systems and the fundamentals in place so that can happen. Because you can go back, but it's a lot harder. So if you're listening to this, you're like, I really do want another location, then you need to find someone to help mentor you to get your current space set up to then open a second location. If you want it to be successful, profitable, and keep moving in the right direction.
So here's the deal. One simple question. Hey, Todd, I want to open a second location. Great. Can your first location operate without you?
Yeah.
Can it run
If it's a
successfully
no,
without you?
now you got to pause.
Can
Figure
you
that out.
not be there for an entire week? And when you go back, Everything is just running the same.
Mm-hmm.
If not, you're in no position to open a second location.
Those are great questions. Yeah.
It was one.
That was a great question.
Really, if you think about it,
Yeah.
it really breaks down to that.
Agreed.
The other thing about expanding too, I just sort of a side note is, do you really want another hair salon? Like, say you're like, I really like business now. I've been learning about it. I've been studying. I've been practicing. I got my salon up and running. It operates without me. I don't even really need to be there, except I love my clients and I love my coworkers and I love doing hair. What about other things you love?
Right.
What about
Doesn't
trying?
all have to be the same.
Right. What about expanding? What about I don't know. We joke about me making pizza all the time.
Yeah.
What if we set up a food truck somewhere and slang pizzas? Like, because I love making pizza.
Just because you did one thing well doesn't mean you have to keep doing the same thing. You can expand yourself and broaden it in another direction and still do both things well.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
that might bring you more joy than you think.
Yeah, I mean, take a hobby and see if you can make a little business out of it. Again, start small.
Yeah.
Start online. Start in the digital space. I don't know. It depends on what your product or service is. All right, customer service.
Customer service.
Let's do it. Where do you want to start? Customer service is super important.
Yeah,
and
this should be top on your list, peeps.
it really is all about the customer. They're the ones that are paying you. They're the ones that are keeping your business alive. And I know that you're running it and steering the ship because I run and steer the ship of our business and along with Jen. So we get it.
But I think stylists, or I think the salon industry as a whole, forgets that they are in the customer service business.
No. And so a while back, I heard Gary Vee talk about this, and it wasn't in relation to salons or anything, but he said that most people aren't going to succeed as entrepreneurs because they're trying to operate as artists rather than operators. Yeah. You really need to get the operations down. Mm-hmm. And I get the whole, like, I create art, I'm an artist. I get it, but no one's coming to see you for artwork. Do you disagree or agree?
No, I would agree. I think that people are coming for, I say this all the time, I think I said on the last podcast, the relationship, the what you offer, what you remember,
how they feel.
Yeah, I think that's it. And how they're treated,
so
which is the experience and the customer service.
I guess that's where the art thing comes in because art invokes an emotion, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But I think a lot of people are making it too just about them.
Yes, I would agree. I see that on the social media
about
side
the
for
hair
sure.
Yeah. It's always I lost my train of thought. Oh, it's always like how you're affected.
Right.
So you don't see a lot of other fields, a lot of other industries that make things about them. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying that your feelings and emotions and all that stuff aren't valid. That's not what I'm saying at all in any way, shape, or form. But what I am saying is that when you're posting stuff like, when you don't show up, you take food from my family. Shut up, Sally.
Yeah, you can't. You can do whatever you want, but if that's how you're running your business, that's not a good place to be.
You also sound like a jerk.
Yeah.
Who the hell wants to come see you now? You're first of all, you're passively aggressing. Oh my gosh. You're passively aggressively posting to someone that's probably not going to see it. And guess what?
Right.
You know they're not going to see it.
And now you're
just trying to look cool to the other stylists.
And you're hitting a chord with the clients that do see it. They're like, whoa, what is happening
So
here?
then all the other stylists in town start
doing
posting the same
thing.
shit because they think like, oh, I should post this. It's just this. It's like when somebody posts about their price increases and they start blaming things.
Yes.
You don't need to blame anything.
Yeah.
We don't need the
No one needs your breakdown.
economics lesson. No one gives a fuck that your gloves cost more or that there was inflation. We all know that products and goods cost more, and we all know inflation exists.
Right.
So when you break that down, it's almost like,
it's insulting.
yeah, you're talking down to people.
Like, I'm not intelligent enough to know that everything's going up. So just tell me what the price is and I'll decide for me if I'm able to pay for it or not.
Yeah. So I got an email from, it's one of those streaming online services. I don't know if it was YouTube or whatever through our television or whatever, but it's through Google. So it was like Google Play. And they were like, your account is like 12, or your service is like $12.99 a month. Next month it will be $13.99 a month.
That's it.
You can cancel at any time.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't like, hey guys, with the cost of delivering products going up. The other thing is, and I don't know why I'm going off on this rant here, customer service, but now I'm just trashing other stylists because it's fun to me and I like it. I forget what I was just going to say.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to customers.
The whole feeling bad. I haven't raised my prices in 15 years. That's your fucking fault.
Yeah, that's bad. You should not be waiting that long.
Why would you do that? What are you doing?
You're not running a business well.
No, 15 years ago,
ridiculous.
shit wasn't the same price. Why are you...
Right.
What are you talking about? And then I tried holding off as long as I could. Why?
Yeah, no.
You're losing money.
Right. All your stuff went up.
Do you not realize that you have a business should be making you money?
Right.
A business exists to serve the owner. There should be a profit coming in. That's what the owner gets for all the risk and friggin' stress and headache that they put up. There's nothing wrong with making a profit off of your business.
Right. It should. And if you are working for yourself, you are currently the owner. So we're talking to you there. Like, you have to make sure your prices align. And if you own a big business, it's the same thing.
So we went way off. I don't think we talked about customer service at all. So let's talk about building customer relationships, relationships with customers. And I feel like this is where you kind of shine. So go.
Okay. I think so to me, what we do at Hello, and I think it works very well, is, you should be greeting your client at the door. Honestly, you should be there before they get there, because they don't need to be waiting for you. They don't need to be looking for you. And you have an appointment. So you should be up there waiting for them to get there. From there, if you've made changes in the salon, I say you show them around again. Like, hey, I haven't seen you for a while. Look at the stuff we're doing. Tell them about the services that you offer. Not even just you do. Have you met the new staff I just hired? Like, make them really feel included in what you're doing. Like, people love that. And the clients that don't, so you don't have to. Do they remember where the bathroom is? Can I take your coat for you? Did you want something to drink? Like, these are just ways to take the anxiety a person has coming in and really help to lower it. I've heard so many times clients that walk in and they're like, oh my God, I'm in my gym clothes. I'm so sorry. I'm like, I don't care. I'd be in my gym clothes if I was you too. Like, I'm not judging how you walk in. I have to look nice. I'm doing your hair.
Look at that stylist. She's in her fucking gym clothes. No, I'm just kidding.
There's that too. But I'm like, we're dressed up here because, we're here to inspire you when you're outside of here. How you come in is fine. Or they're like, my hair's wicked dirty. I'm so sorry. Not a big deal. I'll take care of it. I don't need to make them feel less about the insecurities they already have. I need to make them feel great about the service they're going to have. And when they leave, even better.
Yes.
And I think when you start to look at, or go out, and how do you feel when you walk into a business? And did they make you feel more comfortable? Did they make you feel less? Like, take that all into consideration. And those are what you should put in play in your business to make your clients feel comfortable, because you're going to attract people like you. I do all of that because that's what I would want for someone to do for me. I don't want to feel lost. I don't want to feel out of place. That makes me uncomfortable. So when you greet me and you ask, can I take your coat? Do you want something to drink? Do you know where the bathroom is? Those are all things that make, even if I've been to your space a bunch of times, maybe I never used your bathroom before. So actually, no, I don't. Where is your bathroom? Like, it just takes the anxiety off the client and really helps them to start to experience what you want them to in your space as soon as possible.
Perfectly said. Yeah. I think just treating people with respect, and I spent some time. Oh, snows here. Yep. I've spent some time working in the restaurant industry, and it's all about the guest.
Yes.
And you just make people feel comfortable, or however they want to feel.
Right.
So, for example, so when I used to wait tables, for example, way back in the day, I was freaking good at waiting tables because you could just read the people, the table, and then go from there. So if we had, a group of friends that were joking around and having a great time, you knew that you could crack a couple jokes and you could enhance their time. If, on the other hand, and this used to happen when I worked in Newburyport quite often, you have 2 or 3 people sitting down. They're clearly having a business meeting. They're negotiating and stuff like that while they're having a meal. You
Right.
know,
They need space.
just top off their water. They don't
Yeah.
need to be asked.
I agree.
Certain things you would just take care of because that enhances their time.
Yes.
And now they're going to come back because, hey, let's go to this place. Are you sure? We're going to talk business. Yes. They trust me. They know how to treat us.
Right. I also think if you're that person, you're listening, like, I can't remember all this stuff. Well, you have
Get a notebook.
I was just going to say, we encourage at our salon, like, write down notes. Like, if you're not good at remembering certain specifics about your client, make notes about it. If you know your client likes a certain drink or whatever it is that's like specific to them to make them feel special, make a note of it. You don't have to remember everything, but you can definitely write it down or type it in on the software you use so that they pop up, so that they just feel that much more special in your business. Which, think about it, if we're talking salons and a client is coming to you, they've passed 25, 55 different salons to come to you. So
Right.
what makes them next time not stop at another one and check it out? It's the special little things you do that make them feel really amazing.
Commonly referred to as customer service.
Yes.
Service. Be of service.
Yes.
Make it less about you and
Yeah, all about that.
find out, reap the benefits.
I think that's fun to do, but
So, next one in customer service I had here. Handling complaints and difficult customers. I have a unique perspective on this that most people probably are going to disagree with. Handling a difficult customer, fine. Look, you might be having a bad day. You might have a family member that's ill. You might have lost someone. I don't know. It's okay for you to be a difficult customer. That I have no problem with. When someone gets combative or starts screaming, we've had this happen.
Yep.
That's when the person they need to just go.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't want to service you. You cannot act like that in public. I almost had to physically remove a woman from our salon because she was making physical gestures toward you. She was trying to get in your space. And I was like,
yeah.
what is happening?
Thank God my mom was
So
there.
I immediately took out my phone to record because I was like, this is going to go bad.
Yeah.
And then instructed you to call the police. Only then did she de-escalate everything.
Right.
I still have like a 5 or 6 minute video of her screaming at the top of
It
her
was
lungs in the middle of the salon.
insane.
I should post it on social
No.
media. But that was de-escalated. I wish I had videoed earlier because
Yeah.
she was losing it where you couldn't even understand what she was saying,
Yeah.
just screaming. All right. So that's the difference between dealing with difficult customers and dealing with somebody that's just
The crazies.
inappropriate,
Yeah.
crazy person.
I think too.
So go ahead.
On this topic, always take it offline. You taught me this. So if somebody on your social media or a Google review or whatever it is comes at you or your business, you always want to answer them. You don't want to ignore them, but you don't need to argue for your business or argue with them on that social media platform. So Todd, you're really good at this. And usually, sometimes he'll answer right away.
I
or it
use
takes
sarcasm.
24 hours, but generally it's kind of like, please feel free to reach out through our email. Like, it's just taking it offline. Other customers or clients want to see that you've at least addressed it in a way, and it doesn't even have to be to answer their problems, but it's just that you've acknowledged it. Like, if you want to reach out here, we're more than happy to discuss this, and this is our process for that.
Yes. So I agree with that. But I'll throw in the caveat of so we had a couple of people that for whatever reason were like insane. And they went on and left horrible scathing reviews, which they reached out privately and said, unless you fix this,
Right.
this is what I'm going to do. Actually, it was more like, if you don't do something, if you
Yeah.
don't handle this how I say, this is what I'm going to do. To which I said, go
Okay.
ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. So then they put the review through, and the review is it's pretty much BS. And anybody that is reading it, I've had people that read it and they were like, is this real? Or is this like a bot because it comes across as like a crazy person.
Yeah. And there are crazies.
So part of it was, I can't believe the customer support or something like that, or the customer service. Look, This is my business. This is my family's business. And now you're trying to hurt it. You're trying to harm it. You don't get customer service at that point.
Yeah.
You know what you get? The fuck out.
Yeah.
Go away.
And offline, we offered, I went above and beyond. So I was like,
You went
this
above and
isn't
beyond
even-
for no reason.
Yeah.
That person was looking for, and if you guys are listening, go to our Google reviews. You'll
Check it
see
out.
it. And my response was super sarcastic back because this woman went on about how it was the worst. She's never experienced like anything like this in her life. It was the worst time.
But posted all selfies of herself after her hair.
She,
So
yeah,
it didn't make any
crazy.
sense.
And then friend requested you on
after,
like Facebook.
yeah, it was
So
bizarre.
wild. So then, I just went on and was basically like, we actually did all this stuff. We actually did reach out to you. And since you got the worst experience of your life out of the way, it's all uphill from here.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah,
Because
that was
that's,
right. Yeah. And sometimes you do need to answer it that way, but most often we take it offline.
dude, I'm
in that
me.
case,
I'm
it
authentic
was
and I don't care. I'm
necessary.
sarcastic and that's how I talk and it is what it is. So if somebody's not being nice, I'm going to use humor and sarcasm right
Mm-hmm.
back at them because spin kicking people through walls is not appropriate. And I
It's
know
not
that.
great customer service.
Here's your customer service and then you scream hiya and kick them through a freaking
not
wall.
good.
All right, so customer service. We'll touch on a couple more things and then we can wrap up. Communication. Communication is big.
Yep.
You want to be able to communicate effectively with your team and your customers.
Right.
So when you have price increases, when you have certain things, you're not it's not this clunky process. You should have something in place, a system
This is how
that
it's done.
clearly
this is how we lay
communicates
it
that.
out.
If you want to send a mass email, policy changes, I'm not a huge fan of doing stuff through social media because many people don't have social media or don't check it or really don't care. They're not following your salon they're following your salon because they've been there, not because they want to read your policies.
I think most policy changes can, if it's really going to affect somebody, it's in house. When they get in, we could put something up if it's necessary. Most policy changes are really directed at a small percent of your clientele that's driving you insane.
Right.
So I would just directly talk to those people and make it even easier.
Yeah, we are big on just like you said, in-house conversations. When we switched out of being like a retail heavy salon to focusing on utilizing affiliate links and utilizing different things for our website to sell retail, we just had those conversations. Hey, Sharon, I know you get your shampoo and conditioner here every time you're in, and I love that. But just to plan ahead, we're no longer going to be stocking a lot of products, including shampoos and conditioners. But we do have a link if you like to continue to support us. I can give you that link and you can purchase it there and it will be delivered to your house in like 2 days. Which, by the way, is how people are shopping anyways.
I have a lot of clients that come from all over, like Vermont, New Hampshire, New York, wherever. So
Alaska.
They love it because they're like, what am I getting again? And then it just goes right to them. So it really is quite a seamless process.
Yeah. All right, just a couple more, like I said. So follow up includes checking in with your customers to see their satisfaction, asking for feedback, inviting them back, reaching out just to say like, hey, had a good time chatting with you. Stuff like
Yeah,
that
I
goes
love that
a
stuff.
long way.
Our software helps us with some of that too, which I love the reviews that can come in. But I do think the personal touches are important too. I just had somebody, I cut their hair like a month ago and the mom reached out, was like, my daughter's haircut is amazing and whatever. And I was like, thanks. And thank you for sharing and letting me know because I appreciate that. Like I want them to know that like that makes my day to hear about that stuff. So
For sure. I love that. Training your staff is a big part of your customer, service customer relationships. Your staff needs to know how to treat whatever. So say you get a complaint. How does that look? What happens? Say somebody wants to come back in, their hair is not quite what they hoped, and you unfortunately get a redo. Not a big deal. Say the person's like, I'm not really comfortable seeing that person anymore. I'd like to see this person. Yeah, sure. So that's how we do it at our business. And we don't, I'm just going to leave that thought because we're going to talk for 50 minutes if I even say it. So we'll leave it to a different show.
Sure.
But the point is just train your staff and have the systems in place. You know, everything should be sort of cohesive, and there really shouldn't be a whole lot of running around trying to
And that
put out
allows
fires.
that managing of people to not be so draining. The more things you have in place, like
It
that,
allows
and
you
the
to
more
actually
conversations you
manage
can have.
people
Yeah,
and not micromanage
yeah,
in this
like the emotions
and put
all
out
that. Yeah,
fires.
agreed.
Because
Yeah,
that's really
it's a
the
great way to put
difference.
that. Yeah,
So now you can manage your team. So if you have these systems in place, you can manage your team. So say somebody in your team comes in and they, God forbid, lost their like family pet or something, and they're just having a bad day. Now you can deal with that.
right.
The systems are in place so that person can almost go into a coast and do their work, right? Because maybe they should take the day off, but sometimes people like to come in because it's that familiarity and it gets them around people that care about them and all that stuff, right? So get lost in your work a little bit, but by having the systems, they can come in and just go through and do the work. And by you not having to worry about what they're doing, you can help manage them through their difficult time.
Correct.
And then the last thing I had in my notes was just measuring and tracking. So
Always, yeah.
we kind of touched on it. We have a way that we track it in our system, but if you don't have a way to measure if your customers are happy, how do you know if your customers are happy? You don't.
Right.
So get something in place.
Yeah. Like I said, our software does it, and if yours doesn't, maybe look for a new one, or you can, I'm sure, find other ways
Yeah, for sure.
to do that.
All right. So we're up against it. I don't even know what that means. No, I'm just kidding. It's a radio term.
All right.
We're radio stars. That's it. That's
Sure.
all I got. I just,
Okay.
I wanted to touch on the whole bigger is not always better.
Yeah.
And I wanted to touch on the fact that this is a service industry. Stop with everything else.
Love it.
All right. I think that's it. Yeah.
This episode's
All right.
brought to you by.
Oh yeah. Sponsor spot.
Yeah.
I didn't write it in my notes,
I
so
love
it wasn't
that.
there
I'm
because
here. I got it.
I did not use, I have a template, but my notes were all over the place. So I sort of dumped my notes in one spot. And so I didn't have my, my blocks and everything that I usually have set out for the podcast.
Let's tell the peeps about ping pong.
Yeah. So this episode was brought to you by Ping Pong Design and Marketing. If you want to love your website or you're looking for more clients to fill your salon or gym, reach out to Ping Pong. They are offering our audience a special discount. Visit the show notes, talk to Chris and his team, and he'll set you up. And you should do that too. Click through and at least have a conversation.
Yeah.
All right.
We're here if you need to chat. Reach out if you need anything. And if you don't know what you need, but you just want to chat, hit us up.
Don't hit me up for that. Know what you want. I'm just kidding. Bye.